Hi, we are going to speak about the Parsha, the next coming Parsha. It's also reunited with the beginning of the year, the Rosh Hashanah. And I want to teach something very important from this Parsha that is also related to the issue of Rosh Hashanah. So first of all, it's very weird. The beginning of the Parsha, Parshat Ha'azinu, is that Moses is speaking to the heavens and to the earth. O heavens, listen, O heavens, and I will speak. And let the earth hear the words of my mouth. And he is basically putting them to be, heaven and earth, to be the witnesses of how exactly the Hebrew nation is working, the Hebrew nation is doing in our life, in this world. And it's very weird that that heaven and earth are the witnesses of the Hebrew nation. And another thing that we're going, the main question is what do we have to learn from this issue that Moshe is regarding heaven and earth? I'm speaking morally, of course. And the second thing that we will deal with, another question that we are going to deal with, is the question of, we all know that Copernicus turned over everything regarding to the science. Till his days, people thought that the world is in the center of the world, and everything else all over the universe is turning around this world, around our world. Now, Copernicus made everything upside down. He said, no, the sun is standing in the middle. He took the earth, put it aside, and took the sun, said the sun in the middle, and the earth and everything else is turning around the sun. And of course, we know that the church, the Catholic Church, was very upset with this with this mindset, and it wasn't easily went through to this world. And the question is, what exactly more important, or what exactly is the center of the world? Is the earth is the center of the world, or the sun? And what are the differences between those two set of minds? And all of those questions, the understanding why Moses took heaven and earth and decided to put them as witnesses, and what is the moral understanding of that, of this issue? And the second question of the understanding, what is more important, the earth where we, the human being, are living, or the sun is more important than us, and everything is turning around the sun because the sun is the king of the universe? Those two questions we're going to address through learning the issue, or one of the most important issues of this Parsha. It's also connected, all of this, to this coming upcoming year that is starting in this weekend. And let's start from the beginning. So, as I said before, the first sentence is Moses is approaching heaven and earth and saying to them, listen, O heavens, and I will speak, and let the earth hear the words of my mouth. So it's some sort of, I will say, invitation to the heavens and earth to be the witnesses for everything that the Hebrew nation is going to do in the next coming future, since Moses, 3,500 years ago till today. Now, it's not only that, we need to understand that in the Hebrew nation, there are all kind of witnesses. One of the witnesses that we have, those are witnesses that not only usually witnesses seeing things, okay? When someone have, I will say, some sort of a car accident or something like that. So we're looking for witnesses who saw what happened. But those witnesses are not part of the situation. They didn't do the accident. They just saw the accident, okay? Those witnesses of something evil that happened or something good that happened, usually they are outside observing this issue that happened without them. In the Hebrew nation, there are also, in certain cases, the witnesses are part of the issue itself, of what's happening. Okay, for example, when a couple is getting married, so we have two witnesses that they are part of the connection between the husband and the wife. They are doing this connection to be powerful. It's part of the issue itself. Without the witnesses, it's like doing half an act of the kiddushin, of being together. Now, what the first thing that we are learning here in this issue, that Moses is taking heaven and earth and asking the heaven and earth be part of us, is that to understand that those heaven and earth are taking, I will say, responsibility to be part of this issue. So I will start maybe, or we can start with one step before that. Why Moses took heaven and earth? He said to himself, listen, tomorrow I'm going to die. As everybody else. Everyone in this world is at the end dying. Even the most holiest person in the Hebrew nation who brought us the Torah, brought us the Bible, he is the master of the prophecy, of the prophets. Okay? All of the prophets before him, like Abraham, and after him, everybody else, Shere, Yechezkel, everybody else, he is the master, he is the main, I will say, teacher of the prophets. Even though we think that he was a very unique person, very amazing person, at the end also he is going to die. No one here in this world, who lived in this world, could be God. And Moses told himself, I'm going to die, so I need to take something that is going to stay here along the years, not only me. So what can stay here? What will stay here after a person is dying? Heaven and earth. It's true that we don't know today exactly, I will say, why this is working precisely very good day after day in the exact way. But we know it's working for the last 6,000 years, even maybe before that. This issue is working. But the man is dying at the end. So Moses said, not me, I'm not going to testify. I'm not going to stay here a long time enough. I'm going to die. In this day I'm going to die. In this day that he is saying those words. So therefore I will take two big, major things that are going to stay here all the time, that the Hebrew nation will stay, and they are going to be witnesses. So this is the first logical thing that why Moses spoke with heaven and earth. But as I said, mentioned before, witnesses in the Hebrew nation is also being part of this, I will say, situation. And this is another thing that Moses is asking heaven and earth. He is telling them, listen, when the Hebrew nation will work correctly with God, give them in the Holy Land enough rain from the heaven, enough food that will grow up from the earth, so they will be able to stay in this land. But if the Hebrew nation won't work correctly, so please, heaven, stop giving them rain, the earth will stop giving them food, and that's it. They will be forced to go out from this country to an exile. And this is what happened. So those witnesses are much more part of this, I will say, issue. Those two are, I will say, giving the understanding of organizing the right thing. If the Israel nation will react normally, they will manage to get rain and food. And if they won't react normally, they won't have any rain and any food. Now, we were already in few countries in the last year, and we saw there are countries that they have a lot of rain, a lot of water. Okay, and it's not something that connected to the moral behavior of the people in this country. And this is something very unique to the Hebrew nation, to the Holy Land. The rain is connected, or the living is connected. Rain is water, water is living, is life. The life is connected to the moral behavior of the Jewish nation. And this is the second level why Moses is asking the heaven and earth to be part of this, I will say, testimony to this issue. Oh, heavens, listen to what I have to speak. Earth also, hear to what I have to speak. Because both of you, heaven and earth, are going to be part of this, I will say, organization. And the main issue here to understand, the second level of understanding, that the behavior of the nature is connected, is related to the behavior of the morality of the Hebrew nation. Today, after we went all of this history in the Hebrew nation, so we really saw that it's working like that. Now, the Oral Testament that we have also an Oral Testament, not only a written testament, is really saying it loud and clear. There are 7 reasons why there is not enough food in the Hebrew nation, because people are not donating to those who are poor, because people are not giving this masot, all sorts of issues that are related to moral behavior. And the moral behavior is reflecting in the Hebrew nation, in the Holy Land, the nature, how to react. It's not like when you go to Switzerland or you go to Lithuania or you go to other places where water is there. If it doesn't matter if there will be no rain for the next coming 3 months, or there will be more rain, they have water. In the Hebrew nation, in the Holy Land, everything is related to the moral behavior of the Hebrew nation. So the first explanation that we said, why Moses is speaking with heaven and earth, is because he's going to die, and even the most holiest people in the Hebrew nation, we know that they are going to die. Everyone that was living here in this area and ate food and went to the toilet, he can't be God. He will die one day. Therefore, Moses, who understands that, is asking heaven and earth that they are not going to die, that they're going to be here all over the years, as we're explaining very broadly in our lectures, in our series of lectures of the Bible Path. You will see links after this video. So heaven and earth that are going to live here all of the years that the Hebrew nation and all of the universe is going to live here, Moses is speaking to them, please be part of this, I will say, testimony. The second thing that we said was that those are not just witnesses who are observing from outside this issue of, I will say, the moral behavior of the Jewish nation. Those are 2 very important witnesses that are partnership, that are part of this moral behavior, and they need to react. And this is what Moses is saying to them. Listen, heaven, and listen, earth. If the Jewish nation won't react morally right, precisely as they need to react, so please stop giving them rain, stop giving them food, and they will be punished by going out from the homeland, from the Holy Land, and after 2,000 years of exile, they will come back. So those are 2 issues. If I will try to conclude those 2 parts of the issue, of this understanding, we basically see that the man is very important, and everything is reacting to what the man is doing, for what the people are doing. If the people are reacting correctly, heaven and earth will react side by side as the right way. And if the people won't act normally, morally, so heaven and earth will influence the heaven and earth to react on the same way. If we will ask till this point, we will see that the main issue is man in this world. His behavior is organizing and reacting what heaven and earth will do, And for this point of view, I can say that the earth is in the center, and everything else is turning around the earth. Everything else is reacting through this behavior of man who is sitting in this earth. And of course, it's very complicated, I will say, calculating how to organize that everything is managing. And this is why Copernicus said, let's turn it around. There is another explanation. And this explanation is being told because we see 2 chapters before this beginning of this week Parsha. We read it this Shabbos, is when Moses is saying, this day, it's the day that he is dying, yes? I call upon the heaven and earth as witnesses that I have warned you. Heaven and earth are witnesses that I have warned you. I have set before you life and death, the blessing and curse. You should choose life so that you and your offspring will live. And when Moses is speaking to the Hebrew nation, he is not speaking to heaven and earth. When he is speaking to heaven and earth, I can understand that he is demanding heaven and earth to be part of this witness issue, to react to the behavior of the Hebrew nation. But when he is speaking to the Hebrew nation, he's saying to them, I'm going to speak with heaven and earth. What is this saying to us? What is this moral issue telling us? So Rashi there, one of the biggest sages, he's taking from the Midrash, from the sages, what exactly they said. He's saying something very interesting. He is asking, look, he's saying to us basically that Moses is saying to us, let's learn how to react morally. Look, for example, at the heavens. Did they once a time worked opposite, I will say, the exactly opposite way of usual? Of course not. Now, we don't know exactly, or the science doesn't have the exact explanation what is moving the world, that it all the time will turn around itself for 24 hours, every 24 hours, and what exactly the situation where we see, I will say, the sun is rising from the east and going down at the west. It's something that it's working, and it's working, and it's working. But logically, it could have been the opposite way. One day we could have wake up and the world will turn around the opposite way. Now, the heavens, I will say, all the stars, everything else is working precisely day after day, week after week, year after year. We're going to start a new year next week. It's working the same thing. It didn't change. God asked them to work in this way. This is what we call nature, and they're working like that. And the same thing with the earth. The earth, if we will take an apple tree and I will plant it inside the earth, it won't take out plum tree. It won't take out a grapefruit tree. It won't take out, I will say, something else. It will take only an apple tree. You can never take something, plant it inside the earth, and the earth will give you something else. Why? Because the nature of this world, and if we will say it's in general, it's the heaven and earth, the nature of this world is working precisely as God asked them. Now, if we are looking good inside to this issue, we can learn from here something very, very important. And this is what Rashi is saying to us. Those things, heaven and earth, that are working like robots, they are exactly precisely like yesterday and like tomorrow, they are not going to get any prize from God. A robot can't get any prize for his work. So they're not going to get any prize from God. And they're never in their life are changing anything. Even though they're not going to get anything, they're not going to change anything. They're not doing any sins. They're doing the same thing that they've been asked from day before and day after that. And how much do we need to learn from this issue? That we have the opportunity of life and death, that we have the opportunity of going with the ways, with the words of God, with life, and going opposite against Him, with a death issue, with a death way. How much do we need to learn from those, I'll say robots, that we need to choose the correct way, the right way, the life way. And this is exactly what this sentence, that what Moses is saying to us. I'm going to testify heaven and earth. Why I'm going to testify them? Because you need to learn from them. So from one side, Moses is telling us in this coming parsha, I'm testifying heaven and earth, because they are going to be partnership in this testimony and going to be part of taking outside your behavior, moral behavior, and they will react to your moral behavior. From the other side, he is turning to the Hebrew nation. He is telling them, listen good, learn from them. They are most important. You as a man need to learn from them. They're in the central of the world, and all the world is turning around them, because we need to learn from them to see exactly how do we need to react, and how do we need not to never change our way, and to stick to the, I will say, to the life way that God is proposing us and advising us and telling us to do in the Torah, in the Old Testament way. So now it's starting to be much more reasonable. Moses is speaking to heaven and earth because they are part of this testimony, and they are reacting to the moral behavior of the man. And from this side, man is in the center of the world, and everything is turning around him. He is influencing everything else, even the heaven and earth. From the other side, Moses is turning to us and saying to us, listen, you need to learn from heaven and earth. They never changed their character. They never changed their nature. And you need to learn from them how to, even though they're not going to get any prize or anything else, and you need to learn from them how exactly to react normally. And in this point of view, the most important thing is us. We're learning from them, and they are the central of the world. The central of the world is a sun that is standing there and organizing that everything is working precisely in the same way like yesterday, and that will work tomorrow because God just asked them to do that. And from this point of view, Copernicus was right. The sun is in the center of the world. And we now understand the logical of this beginning of this parsha, of this next coming parsha. Ha'azinu hashamayim va'adabera v'tishma ha'aretz imri fi. Listen, O heaven, and I will speak, and let the earth hear the words of my mouth. And why Moses is speaking with them and combining them to the Hebrew nation and the moral situation of this Hebrew nation. All of this, of course, connected very much to the issue of the beginning of the week, of the year. Because in the beginning of the year, one of the most important things that we're doing in the first 10 days of the year is that we are sitting down with ourselves and trying to organize what we reacted normally and okay in the last year, and what are the things that we need to organize again and to regret and to do repeatness so we can bring ourselves to the next level. And this is why we are reading those parshas, those chapters of the Torah, always we're reading them in the end of the year and in the beginning of the new year. Now, this is my opportunity to bless you to a very good year, a very healthy year that you will have all the blessings, and that you will have a lot of, from your family, a lot of good things that you will see, that you will manage. And I'm also inviting you, of course, to take part with our learning of the Bible that we're doing step by step in small manners, with as you can see in the links underneath this video. And see you in our next week, where we're going to speak. We're going to show another thing that is connected to the Parsha. We're also doing week by week, and everything is okay. See you. Bye.